Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Wednesday, November 4th, 2015. Over the past few days, we've had a very strong early winter storm move into the Great Basin, bringing a significant decrease in temperatures to the region, some strong winds to much of Utah, and widespread isolated to scattered showers and some high elevation snow showers. The image on the left shows yesterday's observed precipitation, with the image on the right showing the past 7 days worth of precipitation excluding yesterday. Precipitation amounts were fairly spotty over Utah, with higher amounts over portions of northern and western Nevada and Idaho and western Wyoming. One of the main impacts with this low pressure system has been the significant decrease in temperatures, with temperatures this morning in the 20s to 30s across the Great Basin. Here's a look at that low pressure system tracking across the Great Basin today, bringing that deep cold air into the region. Some showers will linger across mainly southern and eastern portions of the Great Basin today. The ventilation index looks pretty good across portions of the area, particularly Nevada, portions of Utah, and western Idaho. Areas you see shaded in white are showing a high ventilation index or good dispersion. The ventilation index is comprised of both transport winds and a mixing height component. Looking into each of these components individually, we can see our transport winds on the left have decreased somewhat from the last few days, as we had very windy conditions in Utah yesterday. Those winds are now out of the north and northwest and have decreased significantly in magnitude. Mixing heights shown on the right are fair to moderate in some areas. The areas seen in blue and purple are showing lower mixing heights, with areas in orange and red showing higher mixing heights, which will contribute to a higher ventilation index. Looking at the big picture for tomorrow, that low quickly moves off to the east, and we'll see decreasing winds across the region and lowering mixing heights, which will decrease our overall ventilation index, creating poor dispersion across much of Nevada, western Idaho, and western Utah. This is due in part to the low transport winds moving into the western and southern Great Basin, as well as lowering mixing heights across much of Nevada and into Idaho. For Friday into Saturday, we see a ridge quickly build across the Great Basin, allowing temperatures to rise somewhat. This will keep our winds light and create poor ventilation or poor dispersion across much of the area once again. Looking at the components, the transport winds are largely responsible for the poor dispersion, especially over Nevada and portions of Utah and western Idaho. But the mixing heights are also not very favorable for burning, particularly over Nevada and portions of Idaho. Quickly looking at the clearing index for Utah, higher values can be found today over southern and eastern portions of the state. But as we move into Thursday and Friday, the clearing index really decreases as we see our transport winds drop off and lowering mixing heights across the state. 3-day precipitation totals are shown here, with some lingering showers over mainly southern and eastern portions of the Great Basin, and this is mainly for today, and then also into tomorrow. Idaho and western Wyoming might see a continuation of some showers there. By Saturday, the center of the ridge shifts a little bit to the east, but still not looking for a great day in terms of ventilation. On Sunday, another area of low pressure moves off the Pacific Northwest coast, bringing an increase in winds to the Great Basin. This will improve the ventilation, particularly over Utah and Nevada, for Sunday. That trough moves inland on Monday, bringing continued strong winds to the Great Basin for good ventilation region-wide. We'll also begin to see some rain and snow showers move back into the northern two-thirds of the Great Basin beginning on Monday. The low quickly tracks off to the east on Tuesday, bringing northerly winds to the Great Basin. Ventilation or dispersion still looks pretty good across Utah and eastern portions of Nevada for Tuesday. Precipitation accumulation is shown here for days 4 and 5, which includes Saturday and Sunday. It's just showing that next low moving into the Pacific Northwest, bringing precipitation to that area, and then moving into far western edges of the Great Basin beginning on Monday. The extended forecast from the Climate Prediction Center is calling for below normal temperatures across the Great Basin and below normal precipitation heading into the middle of the month. This concludes today's dispersion briefing. Please check back next Monday for the latest updates.